Hi, I hope everybody's doing well. I wanted to read you a story, one of my favorite stories that I used to read to my children when they were little. And I've saved a lot of the books from when they were children that I now read to my grandchildren. So it's lovely that I've had them for such a long time and I have such wonderful memories. As you probably have lots of memories of books that you like. You like to read the same books probably often with your mom or dad or a special friend. So this one is one of my favorites, and it's called Pelle's New Suit. And it's written by Elsa Besco. I hope I said that right. Okay, here we go. There once was a little Swedish boy whose name was Pelle. Now Pelle had a lamb which was all his own, and which he took care of all himself. The lamb grew and Pelle grew, and the lamb's coat grew longer and longer, but Pelle's coat only grew shorter. One day Pelle took a pair of shears and cut off all the lamb's wool. Then he took the wool to his grandmother and said, "Granny dear, please card this wool for me." "That I will, my dear," said Granny, "if you will pull the weeds in my garden patch for me." So Pelle pulled all the weeds in Granny's garden patch, and Granny carded Pelle's wool. Then Pelle went to his other grandmother and said, "Grandmother dear, please spin this wool into yarn for me." "That I will gladly do, my dear," said his grandmother, "if while I am spinning you will tend my cows for me." And so Pelle tended grandmother's cows, and grandmother spun Pelle's yarn. Then Pelle went to his neighbor who was a painter and asked him for some color with which to dye his yarn. "What a silly little boy you are!" "Ha ha ha," laughed the painter. "My paint is not what you need to color your wool, but if you will row over to the store to get a bottle of turpentine for me, you may buy yourself some dye out of the change from the money." So Pelle rode over to the store and bought a bottle of turpentine for the painter, and he bought for himself a large sack of blue dye out of the change from the money. Then he dyed his wool himself until it was blue all through. And then Pelle went to his mother and said, "Mother dear, please weave this yarn into cloth for me." "That I shall gladly do," she said, "if you will take care of your little sister for me." So Pelle took care of his little sister, and mother wove the wool into cloth. Then Pelle went to the tailor. "Dear Mr. Tailor, please make a suit for me out of this cloth." "Is that what you want?" said the tailor. "Indeed I will, if you will rake my hay and bring in some wood and feed my pigs for me." So Pelle raked the tailor's hay, and he fed his pigs. And then he carried in all the wood, and the tailor had Pelle's suit ready that very Saturday evening. And on Sunday morning, Pelle put on his new suit and went to his lamb and said, "Thank you very much for my new suit, little lamb." "Bah, bah," said the lamb, and it sounded almost as if the lamb were laughing. What a handsome suit. The end. So in this book, you saw some things that maybe you haven't seen before. So when he sheared the wool off of the sheep, he took it to his first grandmother and asked her to card it. So when the wool comes off of the sheep, it's kind of all matted and together, and you have to comb it a lot to make it smooth and soft, and you pull it apart. So you take these two combs, and they've got very small little metal teeth on them, and you brush it and brush it and brush it till it's super, super soft. And then the next grandmother, he took the soft wool that his first grandmother had carded, and he took it to his second grandmother and asked her to spin it for him into yarn. So in that case, you needed a spinning wheel, and she took all the very fine carded wool, and she spun it together. She twisted it, and it made yarn. So she made lots of yarn, and then he took it to his mother and asked her to weave it into cloth. And so to weave it into cloth, his mother used a loom. And the loom, this is the loom, remember? You put all the yarn through there, and then you thread it back and forth, and it makes cloth. And it's pretty cool. And so then once that was made, he had already dyed it obviously blue before. Then he took it to the tailor, and a tailor is someone who makes clothes. You have tailors and you have seamstresses, and they make clothes and different things. And he asked the tailor to make him a suit, and the tailor made him a suit, and then he was able to wear it. And so I thought it was a lovely story. I hope you enjoyed it. It's called Pelle's New Suit. I'll see you next time, friends. Have a good afternoon or good morning.